word polyphony, I'm sorry, yeah, very linguistic tonight, everybody. Don't worry, not always like that.
That's the big question.
Huh?
Is language large?
That is the big question. Well, you see, there we go. The word polyphony, poly, a phone, a lot of phones, a lot of voices, many voices. I think the experience of making a show is polyphonic. I would name Jane and Bridget and Robbie and Jude and all the different people who've been coming and supporting making the show are all present in, very, very physically present in putting the show together. The conversation with Nina in terms of how visual comes to notate music, and is it accurate enough? Because it may seem rather open, but there's a logic to everything. There's a relation of every visual to every sound in different ways. So that's also a kind of balance. I'm thinking polyphony in an expanded sense here, where I think the dialogue, the conversation, I like a lot. I come from a big family. I like when a lot of voices are going, and I think that there is glitch that's present in that. A conversation takes a turn at a certain point. Somebody gets really heated, somebody gets really insecure, somebody pushing for something, somebody's got an agenda, somebody's in a really good mood. All these things can produce a certain, they leave a certain mark, if you will, on whatever that conversation is. Now transposed into musical terminology, polyphony is something I was just nerding out a little bit with Antonia and Samuel before, so you can just say if this is too much. But polyphony is like a practice. There's this thing called part writing, and you write for 4 parts, and you should make them all sound nice. They should all feel independent. They should all. And Samuel said they should all have their moment. And I'm like, should they all have their moment? And like that's you see, like and that's a very, very basic aspect of the kind of practice that we share, I think, which is a practice rooted in noise music and like experimental music, tracing back to Schoenberg, tracing back to Marianne Shea, like all these different directions. All of these composers learned how to do part writing. They learned how to work with different voices and how to get them moving in a way that feels musical. Whatever that might mean, and that can be rather loaded with aesthetics and ideologies and certain commitments, and it can produce schools, etc., etc. But the polyphony is something I really come back to. I went for a few years. I was writing chorales, which is like comes from Bach's chorales. There's like 355 of them, something like that, 56. Wikipedia, ChatGPT.